Hello again. Next we're getting started on angles and angle relationships. An angle consists of two rays with a common vertex. The rays are the sides of the angle, and then the vertex is where those two rays meet. And we measure angles using protractors. There are a few ways to name an angle. The first is using its letters. So in this case, ABC or CBA. Note that both times I put my vertex point, point B, in the center. We can also name angles using a number. So right here we have a 1 at our vertex. So we could call this angle, angle 1. We categorize angles based on their measure. So an acute angle is an angle whose measure is between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. A right angle is an angle whose measure is exactly 90 degrees. We represent this in pictures by putting a little square at the vertex of a right angle. An obtuse angle is an angle whose measure is between 90 and 180 degrees. And a straight angle is an angle whose measure is exactly 180 degrees. And if you notice, this angle is the same as a line. Perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect to form a right angle. If you notice in the picture, here are the two squares that represent right angles. And then also we'll be using this symbol right here to represent perpendicular. Anytime you see that symbol, it means perpendicular line. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum measure to 180 degrees. For example, if we have a 60-degree angle and a 120-degree angle, those two angles would be supplementary because they add up to 180 degrees. Complementary angles are two angles whose sum measures 90 degrees. So for example, if we had a 40-degree angle and a 50-degree angle, those two angles would be complementary. Vertical angles are two angles whose sides form opposite rays. So what this means is anytime we have two lines that intersect, when they make an X, the angles across from each other are congruent to each other. So in the picture to the right, angle 1 and angle 3 are congruent, and angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent. Adjacent angles are two angles that share a side and a vertex. So right here you can see this one side is part of the upper angle and the lower angle. A linear pair is a pair of angles that are adjacent and supplementary. This makes sense if you think about the word. So linear means line, and we know from earlier that a line has 180 degrees in it. And then we have pair meaning two. So we have two angles who form a line. So two angles that are touching and are supplementary to each other. Let's try an example. The measure of the supplement of an angle is 12 more than twice the measure of the angle. Find the measure of the angle and its supplement. So we need to turn these words into math. So the first thing I'm going to do is define my angle. So my angle is going to equal x. Now let's look at the supplement. It says the supplement of an angle is 12 more than twice the measure of the angle. Well, 12 more means plus 12, and twice the measure of the angle means 2 times the angle. So our supplement is equal to 2 times the angle plus 12. Well, we just said our angle is equal to x, so that means our supplement is 2x plus 12. We know that if two angles are supplementary, that means they add up to 180 degrees. So we can say that 2x plus 12 plus x equals 180 degrees. All we have to do is solve. So we have two like terms. I can combine them and say 3x plus 12 is equal to 180 degrees. Then I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, and I'll have 3x is equal to 168. And then when I divide both sides by 3, I find that x is equal to 56. So we'd already defined x as our angle. So that means that our angle is equal to 56 degrees. And we know the supplement is just 180 minus 56 degrees, so that means our supplement is 124 degrees. That's everything for this video. See you in class.